Hey, here's an update. So do you remember how I said we were going to clear all that space? So this is what it looks like now. It all got cleared and chipped up. It's okay. Went over here. And then they actually cleared and lifted up where we had a bunch of cedar trees. They cleared underneath them. So these are all much easier to get under. We can reseed back here. This was that really wooded area that I took the video of that I said gets kind of overgrown. See how it's all cleared out now? It's great. So that just gained us a lot more usable space in this particular area. And I'm going to take a little walk so you can see how the perimeter looks now. Oh, so this was all brush and wooded and kind of overgrown. Such a pain in the neck to try to string lines around. And it was just a wasted space. So nothing could grow in this area because it was overgrown. And so this allows us to reseed in this area. I know. You like it? Now you can walk over here?
And we can play.
It also means that these oak trees and some of them that were being crowded out by the cedars will have a better chance of growing in a healthy way. So it's almost hard to remember how this all had cedar trees around it.
Mom, I found a walking stick.
Okay, you can use that to walk. This was also pretty overgrown, and that all got cleared out. Okay, so this area was also a lot of just overgrown brush and trees and stuff. So this is a gully that we tend to get some water flowing through. But this whole area was actually really hard for us to string lines around. A lot of the seed we planted was shaded out, and we didn't get as much usable pasture in these areas. And so now this is all, although we have this big pile, this is all a lot more usable. And as the leaves come back in, our livestock will still have plenty of shade, but we will be able to plant seed here that will actually grow. And we'll be able to string our lines around this area a lot more easily. It was just so challenging before. So, I mean, like this whole area was almost impossible to get through, and that's all cleared out now. So actually, this is kind of similar to what we ideally would like to have a little bit more of, which is a little bit more trees in our pasture, or silvopasture, which is, you know, when they talk about how years ago you could, you know, drive between the trees and the forest. You had these older trees and then all the grass below them, so the animals had the ability to get some shade, but you also had usable pasture land. It's a little bit harder to hay, but it's such a much more usable space that when we're rotating our animals, having these stands of trees is great, especially when you're in the dog days of summer, when it's so hot and sunny, or when it's cold and you have these cold snaps. You have these shelter areas for them to get under. So this area alone is pretty exciting for us. It's hard to explain like how much of a pain it's been to get around it, and now we can walk right through it. So our hope was to be able to kind of walk straight through all the way around our property much more easily, and we're really happy with the goal. A lot of our cedars had branches that came kind of all the way down, so we couldn't really get under them. So the ones that we left, they trimmed up, you know, high enough for us to stand under. So they still get shade, but we can much more easily get underneath them and string our lines. This area was also pretty wooded, and Sean's been working on this for a while. And it's just a lot of work for one person and a wood chipper. You know, it's possible, but a lot more work. And so what they were able to do in one day, you know, 1 8-hour day, compared to what would have taken us a lot longer, you know, months to do, at least a solid month of working just on this project, was really quite impressive. And they were really great guys to work with. Sean, this is awesome. It's almost hard to like remember how bad it was like 2 days ago. I can't get over it. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. This was like, so there's a lot of things we can do by ourselves on the farm, but if you can utilize and give business to your, you know, your local people who are making an honest living at a fair wage and like really can do something to really help your farm, this was money well spent, because it, you know, all these little areas like this that will gain back pasture for us. We probably gained back, how many acres would you say in pasture?
Couple.
At least a couple acres of pasture, just by clearing this all out. So the money we spent to clear it compared to purchasing, you know, a couple more acres of pasture land, we just regained it on our property and made it so much easier to manage it. So that's pretty awesome. And as time goes on, it'll just give us, because it had this mulch cover, this will break down over time, and it'll just be better soil, you know, a thicker layer of soil. So we're super pleased with this.
Okay. Oh, you're climbing up the stump? Careful.
This is great. Also, so when Sean goes to run electric wire on the inside of this fence now, this whole fence line on our side, he can get in here and do it just so much easier. we kind of said this was the year of fences, and this makes it a lot easier to reach that goal. Maisie's loving it. So this was another area that was pretty overgrown, and we'd have to kind of duck and weave and go through this area to string our lines. And we don't have to do that now. We'd be able to get a lot more easily from our lane down there all the way up here. And then this side will now have, you know, the ability for grass to grow because all the brushy stuff has been cleared away. And you can see, like, we could see straight through to our other pasture on the other side. That was a lot harder to do before. We could make our way through, but it was not easy. Okay, so, sorry, I had a coffee cup in my hand, so it was a little harder to make a video. So I don't know if you can see down here where these posts are. So our lane is all the way down where those posts are. And we string our lane all the way up here and connect it to this fence. And this section, this whole section, was just such a challenge. I can't explain to you what getting underneath cedar trees and stringing lines when it's 100 degrees out feels like. But it's not fun. So the fact that this is going to make our life easier is so worth it.
Come on, Catherine.
Okay, this was another area where we could walk through to the other side, but it was not as clear as this is. So you were kind of bobbing and weaving around little trees and branches and stuff, and now you can just get through a lot easier to the other side. This is a wooded area on our property that we use as a windbreak a lot of times in bad weather. But it's also an area that someday we'd potentially like to have bees here, because on the opposite side of this woods there's a creek, and it's just a good spot because they have a water source, and then whatever we were planting all around here, we'd be able to utilize the bees to pollinate it. So that's down the road. So this was all a lot more brushy. We had a lot more trees and overgrown areas, and so they cleared all this out. So that this tree line is a lot more clear. I don't know if you can see this, but so we have a post there that we would string our lines all the way back, and we were always kind of making our way around and under branches, and it shorts out your line, and it's just kind of a pain. And so this means we have the ability to do it a lot more easily. This is all brush and overgrown and trees that were not really usable. And now it goes straight back to the road. And all the trees we had and all the overgrown area are all gone. So this is wonderful.
Daddy, hold me.
I can only hold you for a minute.
Our beautiful views.
Hold me, mommy. Hold me, mama.
Well, I have a baby that wants to be held. So can you guys say like, subscribe, and share to Full and Family Farm? Say goodbye.
Bye.